All right, man. I am here with Dez from DevilDriver, man. It is exciting to have you on the phone right now. I am absolutely excited about this.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. And you couldn't get a better time right now because it's the morning of release. You know, we just found out that we entered the top 40 Billboard charts.
Yeah.
We debuted number 32. It's our highest debuting number for DevilDriver. It's on our 6th record. And we went up against some heavy hitters, so you caught me in a great mood this morning, brother.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear, man. I caught that news this morning, too, number 32. I was going to ask if you guys, some bands don't really pay attention to charting and critical and all that, but you can't help but be excited about that. That is amazing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it is. You got to understand, it's because we're with a new record label. It's a 6th record for us. So it's one of those things where, like, hey, you want to see where you're at. I don't think so much sales are a gauge anymore.
Yeah.
As much as just a good time, and you know, it's kind of watching a football game go on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you got to pay attention to what's going on. There's rock bands charting at number 1 and 2, like Avenged and Five Finger, and then there's metal bands like myself that are underground, no radio, coming in on the top 40. It's pretty amazing. So it's a good time right now for metal, and I share this with everybody who supported us.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people say rock and metal are dead, but I honestly think that it's on the rise again right now. There was a dead point a little bit, but I mean, the charting numbers don't lie. Like you said, Avenged hit number 1. You guys are 32. Five Fingers up in there. Every major metal release this year seems like it charts really well. People are buying it, not as much as they used to, but it's still charting really, really well. It's an exciting time.
It is. It's amazing, and it's good to see. It's good to see. I mean, we're an underground band, and we've built our fan base one by one, touring over and over, doing more dates per year, really, than any band on the planet. And it just goes to show that heavy music is out there. But anyways, this is a great morning for us. We worked very hard on Winter Kills. The response from it has been absolutely incredible around the world. We got debut chart numbers from everywhere around the world, and we've almost doubled where we were before. That is to say, if we were 40, we're 20. If we were 60, we were 30. So, which means it's on the rise. DevilDriver has always had that steady rise thing because we built everybody one person at a time. After I left my previous band, we got in a van and an RV. We started touring from the ground up again. We did it the right way, and I'm real proud to say after 10 years in the game and on our 6th record where we're at, and really it goes out to the people that support us, to say that thank you to them for listening to what we have to say and for what we have to do. And we've always said we're never going to let the fans down, so it's obvious by this that people are down with it.
Yeah, you mentioned, when you ended your previous band and started DevilDriver, was it what was it like going back to the beginning and starting from the ground up and building something back?
Well, you know what, I mean, it ties in, actually, with the title Winter Kills for the new record. I love the rebirth of things. Winter comes along and kills everything, and then rebirth. I love the starting of things. I love the building of houses, the starting of new businesses. And so for me, it was like, let's have a good time. For me, it's about music and having a good time. And I didn't mind getting in and opening for all the bands that have opened for us, really. So you know what? It was a good time, and I'm proud to say that the work ethic has paid off.
Yeah, I mean, 6 albums in, not a lot of bands can say that they've been around long enough to produce 6 albums and are still going strong. Some bands that hit the 6th record and they're kind of struggling when they hit that point. You guys are still going strong and stronger than ever, it seems like. Not a lot of bands can say that.
I think by the amount of people that come to the shows, by the pits, by the size, by the number, by the people who have DevilDriver tattoos, by all of this, I'm starting to see what's really happening, and it's forming a culture around itself. So I'm just really pleased, and I'm humbled. I feel blessed, and I'm very appreciative.
Awesome. Now, you guys just got back from Europe not too long ago. You toured Europe with Cannibal Corpse. And the metal scene, I've never personally seen it, but from what I've heard, the metal scene in Europe is just out of this world insane.
It is definitely. And I might say this as well. Touring with Cannibal, okay, first of all, they're legendary. Mm-hmm. It's why DevilDriver always says, like, I'm not trying to be the most brutal band in the world, and if you want that, go to Cannibal Corpse. And I always pass it off to them because they're the fucking masters at it. But touring with those dudes, the nicest, no ego, friendliest, coolest band I've ever toured with in my life, ever. I mean, we shared dressing rooms, the whole world. We shared everything together. It was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, they just seem... It's almost ironic that you say they're some of the nicest guys, because their music is so extreme and heavy and hardcore and brutal. And then they're just so nice and down to earth.
Okay, I equate it to art because I also paint and I sculpt. I equate it to art. I mean, you meet artists that have really dark works on canvas, and they're very friendly and they're willing to shake your hand and sign the book or whatever that they wrote about the art. I mean, so for me, I don't judge a book by its cover, right? They do make the most brutal metal on earth, and so for me, just knowing that something coming out of those guys like that they were nice guys to share the stage with, the great guys to tour with, and the European audiences are incredible. But you know what? Let's not take anything away from the United States. Mm-hmm. I mean, even in an economy where it's difficult to get shows sold, I mean, people come out to DevilDriver shows and they go nuts. So for me, man, I feel blessed all the way around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the metal scene here, like you said, not to take anything away, I mean, you go to any, like, I saw Lamb of God with In Flames last year on Randy's first tour back from that whole situation overseas, and it was one of the most brutal shows I've been to. The metal scene here is insane as well. Metal shows. Right.
And you mentioned, you mentioned two bands that are great. We're obviously great friends with them. I mean, I think In Flames is one of the greatest live bands, and obviously, me and Mark Morton from Lamb of God have a side project called Born of the Storm that you can hear on YouTube and stuff. So I'm very close with those dudes. So it is good to see, and it's good to see people putting out good quality records.
Yes.
There is a ton of metal bands out right now, a ton of different scenes, a ton of different genres, people doing their own thing, and it's good to see, Somebody said to me, like, well, what's the state of metal? I said, look, man, as long as there's houses and basements rumbling with the sound of, like, young bands rehearsing in their parents' house, like, it's all good, as long as it's coming out heavy. And you know me, man, I like everything from punk rock to metal to blues to black metal, so, like, I'm very well-rounded in what I listen to, and I think that's the way you should be, too. So I think the state of the music industry may be down, but I think the state of the individual genres that are more underground, punk rock, blues, heavy metal, black metal, are really thriving, because people now have to seek it out in order to go get what they want. And, DevilDriver kind of doing our own thing, being a square peg in the round hole. We're obviously a metal band, but you can't compare us to any of this, like, I don't know, American new metal, heavy metal stuff coming out or any of this. It's kind of like we have our own thing. It's good to see that people are taking to us, because we are definitely doing our own thing and putting our middle finger in the air to what everybody else is doing in the current popular heavy scene. You understand?
Yeah, absolutely. And that really comes across on Winter Kills too, which, to talk about that record alone, it's an outstanding record. It's no surprise to me that it's doing as well as it is, because it's very melodic, but it's also crushing. It has that DevilDriver sound, but it's also fresh, which is the key to a good new record, I think.
Well, you know what? I think that I have a lot of analogies here, man. I equate it to what my father said. If you're going to go into business, surround yourself with good, square businessmen and people who do good business. I surround myself with good musicians. Come over here, Frank. And I surround myself with dudes who have like-minded attitudes as myself. All my crew, all of my musicians around me throughout my career, all have this one-minded. Hold on, we're going to do a shot.
Okay.
Okay, I got all my crew staying here overnight. We're getting ready to tour today, so that was a good morning shot because the record went well.
Nice.
I think that you just got to surround yourself with good people, man. I've been blessed to do that, and I've made some changes in my career over the years. Of some different members and different bands and this and that, but it's only to kind of better the band or better the lifestyle within the band. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And right now, I've got a pretty solid lineup, and the guys who are in DevilDriver absolutely are killer writers. I told people early on, probably on our second record, I started doing press, and I said, listen, man, the best stuff that's going to come out of this band is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 records in, only because we're going to learn to grow together. Mm-hmm. And so this record, when I came out and said, look, I've never said this, but on any record release, but Winter Kills is going to be our best record, people said, well, where's that going to leave you for the next one? And I said, well, you guys forget that I have Chris Towning from Bury Your Dead, who didn't write on this record or play on this record, who's going to be on the next record. Mm-hmm. So it's like kind of like you got a little demon in your pocket waiting to get released as well. So I've always loved that. Getting new art out, doing new art. And look, you caught me at the greatest moment, man. I mean, this is a celebratory moment. My whole family, all my children, my wife, everybody's been up since 5:30 this morning. The phone started ringing. It's like, hey, you came in number 14 in Australia, and you're between, like, Bruno Mars and Pink. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, I mean, my first single was, Fuck You, I'm Ruthless. And it's like, that's debuting. It's like, I have no idea. So for me, it's like kind of like, hey, if you put your middle finger up in the air and do your art for yourself, people are going to come to it, and that's the way it's been with DevilDriver. So blessed be.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, when you guys came out with your first, second, third albums, you said that, like, the best work would be, in the future, which is now. A lot of bands will say our best work is now. You don't find many artists saying our best work is down the road. This stuff is good, but the best stuff is coming. And even
well, you want to know why? I think because with a lot of musicians, the sales pitch is there, man. Mm-hmm. And it's not there with me. It's like I realized early on that this band would be one of those bands that's going to grow together. It's like you don't just come out on your first and second record and be like, this is the best. I mean, some bands did that. Mm-hmm. Guns N' Roses, no doubt, their first couple records, and after that,
yeah.
So for me, I just put early on, and I wasn't trying to do any sale tactics on our first records. I was like, look, man, we're going to keep growing, and if you stick with us, we're going to find different places to take you. So, like, if you take the Last Kind Words record, and then Pray for Villains, and then Beast, I mean, those three records couldn't be more farther apart. They have a signature kind of California groove sound, but they are so far apart from what they are. And I think it's interesting if you keep your fan base guessing, and you do something that you're just doing from your heart, they're going to kick up on it, and that's just what it is. So, so in the early on days, there was no sale tactic, man. It was just all about, hey, stick with us. The records to come are going to be better. And I'll say this now: I do think the next 3-4 records after this are going to get better, more experimental, and coming out of the box a little bit, just as we've always done. And with this record, the fan base will continue to grow. I'll tell you right now, for myself, Winter Kills was actually has been the first DevilDriver record I actually heard all the way through, and I'm now a huge fan of the band. I absolutely love it. So now I'm going back and listening to Beast and some of the other records that you guys have done, because now I want to hear everything. That's really cool to say, man, and I appreciate your candor and your honesty. That's amazing. And what I am hoping is, and I've said this from the beginning of the press campaign on this, right? In fact, one of the things I always say is, if you're a DevilDriver fan, you're going to love this. If you're not a DevilDriver fan, this one's going to turn you around. If you've never heard of us, this is a fantastic place to start, and then go back in our catalog. Because you'll hear songs off our first record, like Nothing's Wrong, that have so much punk rock in it. Then you'll go to the second record, and go to The Fury of Our Maker's Hand, or go to The Last Kind Words, and you'll hear, like, the growth in the band and the maturity of the players and the little zones we go. Like I said, Pray for Villains to Beast couldn't have been more different. Completely different. So then to come out with Winter Kills was, as soon as I started doing the demos, I said to myself, oh, man, this thing is going to be a monster, And the one thing we don't do anything calculated. okay? But the one thing we did do is have conversations and said, listen, no one can really define us. It's very hard. It's obvious we're a heavy metal band. We're not a rock band like Avenged Sevenfold or Five Finger. They're more rock bands. So we are a heavy metal band. But what else? How else can you categorize us? It's impossible. And our fans started calling us the California Groove Machine. And I was like, you know what? I was like, this label. At first, labels turned me off. And I go, but this label, I think you have to realize, and I said this to the whole band, I said, you got to realize there's no other band out there being called a groove band, and any band after us being called a groove band is going to only be trying to cop our vibes, so you need to run with this because the fans put this on you, not you, so let's live up to it. And when I started getting the demos, the first words, sent to all the band were, this shit is grooving. And that's the way it went down, and that's how the process went down of writing and recording this thing. Is like, let's make sure this thing grooves and has hooks and is, I'm missing songwriting right now in the heavy genre. It's easy to do a 36 measure breakdown for the pit. It's easy to stack your vocals 10 high to be heavy. It's easy to be the most brutal band. It's almost easier to be the most brutal band on the planet right now than to actually write songs.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased, man, that your candor, first of all, by saying, hey, this record turned me on, now I'm going to go back in the catalog. That's what we want. And that's how you build a fan base, not by commercials, and shit. That's not, I laugh because it's funny to me. It's like, that's not how you do it, man. You do it one person at a time, and so thanks for your honesty and your candor,
Absolutely. And you guys are getting ready for the co-headline tour, of course. Gotta touch on it. Trivium, Silosis. Silosis is a great opener, great metal band in themselves. I saw them open that Lamb of God show, and it looks like a great package tour. Have you thought, obviously the tour starts next week, have you thought about different set lists, different things you're going to do, anything special, anything along those lines?
Well, I will tell you this, that for people who have seen DevilDriver once, twice, 20 times, we are a non-production band. And that's just the way we've been. This time around, full production, full show, to go along with what we are live. And someone said to me, you guys don't understand, you're like 110% live, you're like a punk band on fire. If you just add some fucking production, some lights or some whatever, it's going to be insane. And I said, well, that's not how I got schooled on coming up with this band. I said, okay, but let's do it. So that's going down. There's 5 songs off Winter Kills, at least 5 or more that we're going to be playing. And later on down the line, a year from now, I'm going to go out and play the whole record live without a doubt. But you know what I like about the bill is everybody is totally different, So the Trivium, completely different band from DevilDriver, and completely right. But great friends. Matt Heafy, nice guy. Actually, I started playing guitar on this last tour, and he heard that and said, "Hey, I got some lesson plans, planned out on the tour. So it's cool. The guy's going to take time to teach me some riffs and whatever." Silosis, I definitely checked them out. Great band. And I think After the Burial's on it, correct?
Yeah, they're on there too.
Right, and I've heard nothing but positive things about them. But the thing is what I do realize is every band has its own thing, and they're all different. And that's what makes a package a good lineup. That's what makes it good for people. If you come in and you hear 15 bands that all sound the same, it's going to suck.
Yeah. There's got to be something different with each band that they can offer the fans.
I think so. And that is really what adds longevity, is finding your own little niche, in life,
Yeah.
God, my great. Yeah.
Absolutely. Finally, the last thing I want to mention is the cover of Sail on Winter Kills. I want to thank you because the original is a good song, but I've never really liked that song. The version you guys did on that song has made me like that song now. It is an outstanding cover, man, and it took me completely off guard. I was like, that can't be that song. And I heard it, I was like, that's awesome.
You got to understand, first of all, we love I do especially, I love to cover the obscure. So we've done Metallica, we've done Iron Maiden, okay? It could be easy to go back and cover an old rock song. Wanted to do something obscure, which at this moment, AWOLNation and Sale definitely is an obscure underground tune. I mean, even as much as people know it, it's still relatively obscure.
Yeah.
And I want to do something current. So I heard it coming out of the car when I was driving with my kids. They listen to a lot of metal, a lot of different alternative, a lot of different shit. And I hit the band up immediately. Within 5 minutes, because they were all together, they came back, they had listened to the song and said, let's do this. And from the first demo I got, that predominantly Mike Spreitzer is in charge of that kind of a thing. Like, we're going to do a cover, Mike is really kind of in charge of that. When we did Black Soul Choir by 16 Horsepower, I don't know if you've heard that song, but go check out 16 Horsepower, Black Soul Choir, the original, first. Then go listen to DevilDriver. And then you'll understand what I'm saying when it's like more fun to do obscure, out-of-the-box, artistic songs for us. And I'll always continue that. I mean, I still have in my mind, I would love to do like a cover record, like 20 covers, and like do obscure tunes and tunes that people like would have never thought about doing. I mean, I enjoy doing that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, it's always good when it's cool when a band covers a song, but it's always better when it's a song that you really wouldn't expect them to cover, or is from an area of the music world that isn't even really their style, that they cover and reinvent it. It's really cool, and that's exactly what you have to say.
Cool, man. There's this thing that's like, heavy metal can't like alternative or even give it credit. Or alternative can't really like pop, give it credit. Black metal can't really give like this other kind of metal credit. It's like, that's all bullshit. Music is music. And what was really cool, and I'll tell you this right now, is when you cover a tune and you have the AWOLNation guys like say, good job. So when you cover somebody else's tune and they go, hey, great job, it's like, I'm definitely going to cover Johnny Cash once in my life, and he's not alive to say it, so it sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because it's gonna be good. But you hear the artist go, "Hey, man, that's killer." I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want. And we had a great time doing it, man. And look, I think there's a lot of key words when it comes to DevilDriver, but one of the key words right now, especially musically, touring wise, and everything else, is fun. Are we having a good time? Okay, cool. And I say when I come on stage almost every night, are we having a good time? Let's do this, you know? And I think that's really where you want to be, man, as a metal band. You want to take people out of their daily lives and let them come in and have a show and let them have a good time, and DevilDriver's all about that.
Awesome, man. Dez, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been fun. It's been awesome. Man, I hope I can catch you guys sometime soon. I really do.
Yeah, but where are you out of?
I'm in Indianapolis. So,
man, come, man. We were definitely going to be coming around your area. If you come to the bus, come say hello, come have a glass of wine, come say hi to my crew. We'd be glad to have you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I saw you guys when you were on the Seven Dust tour up in Fort Wayne back in April on the Seven Dust tour, and that was a great show. Now I've got to see DevilDriver. So.
Oh, so you got to see Cold Chamber?
I did, which was the first time I'd ever seen Cold Chamber. I'd heard you guys, but not seen. And so,
man, really, really strange, man. Really strange. I mean, we broke up, almost 13 years ago. Before 13 years, until we got back together, and having like the whole crowd basically young was a trip because no one was either born or they were like 5 when we broke up. So it was crazy to revisit that. And let me tell you something. When have you got a chance in your life to like go back and date that ex-girlfriend to see if it went wrong the wrong way, or get that second chance to like revisit that person in your life that has done something positive or whatever, and that's what it was for Cold Chamber for me. It's like, go back, do those shows, do them with Seven Dust, who are our bros in the beginning, our bros in the end. I mean, me and Lejean will be brothers till we die, the singer, if you don't know Seven Dust. His name is Lejean. And so for me, like, going back and doing that almost added fuel to the fire, man, for DevilDriver, and made me really say, okay, I know what DevilDriver is too. So I'm glad you got to see those shows, man. Look, art.
It was awesome, man. It was.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Art is a special thing, and if you get a chance, to go to shows, you should do it. I mean, I grew up, that's what I did. I snuck out of my house and went to shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
The live shows where it's at is the live show. I mean, that's what it's all
and if you've never seen DevilDriver live, you'll know what's really on fire. Listen, I can only say it this way. Our first tour was with Superjoint Ritual, and if you're going to go out with them and you're not going to get destroyed, you got to learn how to come to the table.
Yeah.
Well, the punk rock in me really helped that, and I think the band really knows what we're doing at this point right now. We're going to have a great time in this next Trivium tour. I want people to come out.